You know, one of the things that me and my family love, we love the Olympics. Anyone here love the Olympics? Woo! I'm a big fan of the Olympics. One of the things that I love at the Olympics is running, specifically the 100-meter race. And the last Olympics that took place, the 2020 Olympics that took place in 2021 because of COVID, does anybody remember who won the 100-meter men's race? An Italian guy. Any Italian friends in the room? Come on, you should know. Who won? I don't hear his name. His name was Marcell Lamont Jacobs. You're like, oh yeah, I knew that. Marcell Lamont Jacobs. You see, Jacobs was born in the United States. And very early, when he was a baby, his parents separated. His mom took him back to Italy, where she was from. He was raised without knowing or having a conversation with his father. As Marcell started to run and started to become really good and started to really qualify for races, he was able to run, but the one thing he was not able to do was to crack 10 seconds. He'd run like 10:05 or 10:08, but he was never able to run underneath 10 seconds. At one point, his coach came to him and said, I think it's time. He said, time for what? He said, I think it's time to meet your father. He said, what does my father have to do with this? I'm a runner. This has to do with my physicality and me running. I got to find ways to build my muscles so that I can run faster. And his coach said, no, this is a mental holdback, the negativity and how it's affecting you physically. He said, I think it's time. So Jacobs picked up the phone and called his father. And as he called his father and started to build a relationship with his father, he started to break down the walls and the barriers that he resented about his father. And so funny enough, because this conversation happened a year before the Olympics was supposed to be 2020, but because of COVID, it got pushed to 2021. This conversation happened in 2020. So if there was no COVID, then we would know who Jacobs is. But he picked up the phone about 1 year before the Olympic race. He started to have that relationship with his father. You see, when it came time for that race, Marcell stood at that line. And there were some amazing people around him as well. There was Fred Curley from the US, one of the fastest runners. There was our guy, Andre DeGrasse, one of the fastest guys in the world, and he stood there as well. And there's a bunch of other guys, the fastest guys for their nation, the fastest guys in the world, and they stood there at that line, and when the gun went off, boom!
This time they're away, and what an opportunity for one of these men. It's pretty even at the moment. Curley going well, Lamont Jacobs on the far side, and the Italian has done it. That is absolutely incredible. Lamont Marcell Jacobs, the transferee, makes it double delight for the Italians tonight.
And when they got to the other side, the person that got there first with a time of 9.80 was Jacobs. Because he was able to break down the barriers. He was able to see his value. He was able to see his worth. He's able to see what he was able to bring to the table because he was able to step through the difficulty that he was having with his father.